This is the Old Rectory, a stunning and classic garden filled with sumptuous, luscious planting. Drawing on the Old Rectory's 18th century history, this grand 3-acre space has been divided into 6 garden rooms with a contemporary edge fit for the 21st century family. And it's the brainchild of garden and landscape designer Anushka Filer. Anushka, what a fabulous garden. So where did you take your inspiration from?
Well, it was largely inspired by the 18th century rectory and the architecture. The definition of a perfect garden in the 18th century had 6 parts. So it had a pleasure garden, a park, an orchard, a kitchen garden, a menagerie and an orangery. And so I thought it would be lovely to reinstall those elements into this garden, but give them a very distinctly 21st century twist. In the pleasure garden, for example, we've got a natural swimming pool. The menagerie is more about children and their interaction with wildlife, so we created a woodland area with lots of natural play, and we brought in quite a few quite semi-mature trees. We didn't want to wait 20 years because the children would be grown up and having their own children by then. And then the parkland, that has a maze. The kitchen garden is more ornamental. The glass has this beautiful garden room that can be used at all times of the year.
Where are we now?
So we're in the heart of the flower garden. There's this exuberant quality to it, a real celebration of wonderful plants that do well in the UK, and it's just using the idea of creating this sort of heavenly paradise.
This is such a lovely shaded dining area in the shade of these plane trees. Just nice, simple formality, but a generous table with herbs in the middle, just ready for picking. And I love the generosity of this garden overall. This terrace spans the entire width of the back of the house, but there's separate elements that are tied together really nicely. So here we've got a large planting area, just roses and grasses, and the grasses have that lovely soft textural feel but set the tone for the garden with a contemporary element. The planting tears up towards the back, and the grasses are a key plant throughout. And this terrace is in effect a sunken garden, so it's got retaining walls all the way around. But Anushka's designed them at the perfect seating height. Rather than just having a stone face, she's softened it up with lots of planting, green, lush plants that are thriving in the shade. Things like this Hakanakloa grass. And this has got an irrigation system just constantly dripping, keeping these plants nice and moist. And then we've got a water feature, and the sound of the water feature is just lovely. On a warm day like this, it brings a cooling presence to the garden, and it lines up absolutely perfectly with the back door, and that axis runs right through the garden. There's a real sense of formality here. This is Anushka's interpretation of a kitchen garden, and well, it's a very loose interpretation, that's for sure, because she's having a bit of fun with it. There aren't actually any edibles in here at all. She's got this wonderful Winchester Cathedral rose, a lovely white rose. We've even got white butterflies flying through here today. And of course, the white planting relates to the house and that heavenly theme running through the garden. Now, when that dies back, she's got this nice grass underneath. It says Cecillaria autumnalis. It'll add plenty of winter interest and texture to keep it going. And for the structure, there are 8 Osmanthus armatus, and Anushka has painted the trunks of them white. This is a nod to the Mediterranean, where people paint trunks of trees to prevent pests getting in, and here it's purely ornamental. She's painted this white lime-based waterproof paint, which lets them breathe, but what it does is add a wonderful sense of theatre and atmosphere to this space. And if you've got an area of your garden where you think, oh, I can't quite keep on top of that, I don't know what to do with it, it's looking a bit messy, just pick 3 fine plants like this, repeat them throughout, and it can work perfectly well, just like it does here. This is a fabulous garden building, beautifully made, oak framed with a nod to the history of this location. And when I first saw it, I was slightly concerned about the placement of it in the garden, because you'd normally see a building like this tucked away in the corner of a garden or at the back rather than so centrally placed. But when you get inside, you realise why it is where it is. Because from in here, you have got a fantastic 360-degree view, and it's actually the axis of a lot of the paths. So you're looking down these paths to the seating area, looking down that wonderful avenue of hornbeams. This one, you're looking through to a fire pit and another seating area. And then this way is through the archway in the hedge. And then you sit down and you realise you are completely enveloped in the planting. Everywhere you look, you're looking out onto plants, and it's just fabulous. And this is a covered area, so all year round you can look at the planting as it decays into the autumn and as it emerges in spring. And okay, this is an all-singing, all-dancing garden building. It's double glazed, it's got electrics, lighting, and it's even got Wi-Fi. But all you really need is a covered area, and you can get out into your garden and look out onto the planting. If I had one of these, I wouldn't be in the house, I'd be out in the garden all year round. It's fantastic.